Welcome to the Unraveling Scriptures channel. Despite the numerous plagues in Egypt and the parting of the Red Sea, along with various other wonders and miracles, Moses showed a certain apprehension regarding a giant from the land of Canaan, known as Og, the king of Bashan. However, there's a lesser-known aspect about this king. He possesses an ancient book kept secret from most people. Few are aware of the existence of this book. It is on this subject that I will delve into in this video. Therefore, I ask that if this content is relevant to you, please leave your like and help us by sharing it with others. This video is another in the series where we discuss the giants of antiquity as described in the sacred scriptures. The forbidden book of Og, the king of the giants Rephaim. Between 1940 and 1950, an abundance of texts on ancient scrolls was discovered in the Judean region. About 900 scrolls were unearthed, some in better condition than others. These documents were termed as the Dead Sea Scrolls, found in the caves of Qumran, where the ancient Jewish community of the Essenes resided. Among these texts was the oldest version of the Old Testament known to date. For the uninitiated, the Dead Sea Scrolls represent the oldest recorded version of the Holy Bible concerning the Old Testament. In addition to the books considered canonical in the current version of the Old Testament, a variety of other writings and scrolls were discovered, including the ancient Book of Enoch, mentioned in the New Testament and cited several times. Also found was the ancient Book of Jubilees, an ancient Jewish collection containing a series of precepts and teachings absent in the texts of the Book of Genesis. Also noteworthy are discoveries such as the ancient Book of the Giants, a fascinating and mysterious text, and the Book of Og, the king of the giants. According to the Aramaic Hebrew Bible, King Og of Bashan was a ruler of giant origin belonging to the tribe or race of the Rephaims, a lineage of giants. He reigned over the Amorite people in the land of Bashan and was defeated, along with his army, by Moses and his men in the great battle of Edrei. In Arabic literature, King Og is often mentioned as Uj ibn Anak, which translates as Og, son of Anak. While the Quran mentions him in the context of the prophet stories, there are not many specific details about him. However, in the Jewish and Christian traditions, Og is known as an Amorite king mentioned both in the Hebrew Bible and in the Old Testament of the Christian Bible. The king of the Rephaim giants, Og, is introduced in the Book of Numbers as a fearsome ruler of the giants who ruled over the Amorite people. One of his previously defeated neighbors was King Sihon of Heshbon, whom Moses had conquered in the Battle of Heshbon. The kingdom of Sihon originally stretched from the valley of the Jabbok torrent, where it bordered the domain of King Og, to the valley of the Arnon torrent, and from the Jordan River eastwards into the desert. Its capital was Heshbon, located east of the northern end of the Dead Sea. Sihon had taken possession of the land of Moab north of the Arnon and apparently ruled over Midian, as the leaders of Midian were called princes of Sihon. When Israel sent messengers requesting permission from Sihon to pass through his kingdom on the royal highway and promising not to take anything from the Amorites, Sihon refused permission and mobilized his army to confront Israel. He was defeated and killed in Jahaz. Og, in turn, was an Amorite king, the ruler of Bashan, who possessed 70 walled cities and numerous cities without walls. Its capital was Ashtaroth, an important city in Bashan, dedicated to the goddess Astarte, often mentioned in the Bible as a site of pagan worship. Bashan, known as the fertile plain without stones, is a place of biblical importance that first appears in Genesis 14 verse 5, where it is mentioned that Kedorlaomer and his allies defeated the Rephaims at Astra-Karnaim, where Og, the king of Bashan, reigned. When Israel entered the Promised Land, Og tried to resist, but was completely defeated. Numbers 21:33-35, Deuteronomy 3 verses 1-7. This region extended from Gilead in the south to Mount Hermon in the north, and from the Jordan River in the west to the Sea of Chinnereth in the east. Along with half of Gilead, it was allotted to the half-tribe of Manasseh, Joshua 13 verses 29-31. Golan, one of the cities of Bashan, became a city of refuge, Joshua 21 verse 27. Argob, in Bashan, was one of the administrative districts under Solomon's reign, 1 Kings 4 verse 13. The cities of Bashan were conquered by Hazael, 2 Kings 10 verses 32 to 33, but soon afterward were recovered by Jehosh, 2 Kings 13 verse 25, who defeated the Syrians in 3 battles as prophesied by Elisha. Since then, Bashan has nearly vanished from history, though tales persist of the wild flocks that grazed its fertile lands, Ezekiel 39 verse 18, Psalms 22 verse 12, the oaks of its forests, Isaiah 2 verse 13, Ezekiel 27 verse 6, Zechariah 11 verse 2, and the beauty of its vast plains, Amos 4 verse 1, Jeremiah 50 verse 19. After the initial conquest, the name Gilead came to be used to refer to the entire region beyond the Jordan. After the exile, Bashan was divided into 4 districts. As described in the scriptures, in the book of Numbers, chapter 21, and Deuteronomy, chapter 3, Moses feared Og, the king of Bashan, because of his gigantic stature in ancient times. When we headed towards the land of Bashan, Og and his army attacked us in Edrei. However, the Lord told me not to fear Og. This account demonstrates Moses' fear of Og, a topic discussed by many rabbis. Even after witnessing the plagues in Egypt, the parting of the sea and many other prodigies and miracles, Moses still harbored this fear for Og. But now, in relation to the ancient text of Og, the king of the giants, there is an ancient manuscript that was discovered at Qumran, along with the Dead Sea Scrolls and other documents. Its dating goes back to about 2,000 years, but its scriptures indicate an even more remote origin, especially in its narratives. Now, I will share with you all chapter 7 of the book of Og, the king of the giants, highlighting a few verses so that you can get a glimpse of this ancient text. It is important to mention that the texts are quite damaged, so I will only be able to read a part to give an idea of the content present in the book of Og, the king of the giants. In chapter 7 of the book of Og, the king of the giants, Og's last words to Moses are uttered, "What do you think, worm of Israel, that I was not in the great mountains, above the waters that covered the mountains of the flood? You have never touched the sky, nor have you ever been taller than 2 cubits, than the greatest of men. My intent is to observe your entrails and witness your death. No evil of the earth will guide me, just as it happened with Nimrod, that circumcised Nephilim worm. I am Og of Bashan, the greatest of the giants of this land. What can you do with me, except prepare for your own death? So I ask you, are you prepared to die, Moses? I saw you crawling toward the light, I saw your mother in Egypt witness the death of babies. Is that why you come to wage war against me? Is that why you desire war with me? No evil will guide me to cut you down with force, you corrupt one, your God, your small and weak warrior men. I will spit on your men, on your warriors, who together resemble a heap of gathered ants." This excerpt from the book of Og, the king of the giants, can be interpreted in different ways, taking into account the references to Moses' mother in Egypt, the death of babies and the idea of Moses dragging himself into the light, which can represent your knowledge about God. Og's mention of the mountains above the waters of the flood can be seen as an affirmation of his survival of the flood, suggesting that he was a giant who withstood the cataclysm. Leave your interpretations of this excerpt from the book of Og, the king of the giants, in the comments. In the book of Deuteronomy, in chapter 3, verse 11, and later in the books of Numbers and Joshua, Og is called the last of the kings of the giants. The term Rephaim is a word of Semitic origin, probably found in Phoenician, Hebrew and Aramaic, with several meanings, including revived ghosts and hauntings. This term is used to describe one of the races of giants that inhabited the land of Canaan. Many question how it was possible to determine the exact height of Og, the king of the giants. This question is quite simple, as Deuteronomy, in chapter 3, verse 11, states that Og's bed was made of iron to support his weight. He was an immense and very heavy being, about 9 cubits long and 4 cubits wide, which is approximately 18 feet 6 inches long and 8 feet wide. Therefore, Og was an immense giant, and from the measurement of his bed, which some believe to be where he slept, while others suggest that it was actually his sarcophagus, we can infer his size dimensions. Many believe that the famous bed of Og, the king of Bashan, could simply be a bed on which Og lay, and it became quite famous in the region, even being hidden in a city in the land of Ammon. One curious aspect to highlight is that the region north of the Jabbok River, or Bashan, the land of the Rephaim, contains hundreds of megalithic stone tombs called dolmens, dating from the 5th to the 3rd millennium BC. In 1918, archaeologists discovered in Jordan a remarkable ancient dolmen that certainly corresponded to the approximate dimensions of the famous bed of Og, the king of Bashan, as described in the Bible. These ancient rock tombs are rarely seen west of the Jordan River, and the only other concentration of these megaliths can be found in the hills of Judah, near Hebron. Interestingly, the biblical text states that there was another race of giants in the land of Hebron, called the Anakim, which means sons of those who fell from the sky, a direct reference to Genesis, chapter 6, where it mentions the sons of God mingling with the daughters of men, producing the giants. The parents of the giants were the fallen angels. I hope everyone enjoyed this video about the book of Og, the king of Bashan, and some interesting facts related to it. Leave in the comments what you thought about Og's book. Would it be a forgery or not? Leave your opinions. Thank you for watching another video in our series about the giants of the scriptures. May God bless you, and see you soon.